Thank you. Whew. A couple of those songs really stressed me out, so I feel much more relaxed. More relaxed now. How's everybody doing? What a snowy day. Thank you so much for coming out, even though it's slippery and snowy and wet and so windy and cold. I know it's Canada, I know it's true, but I feel like all we read about now is how it's never going to be.
You forget though that we are based out of the West Coast and
We're very weak.
Tegan specifically has not really been subjected to winter. Not in a minute. Since like 2000, and I can't tell you how many times she has applauded herself for bringing a winter coat on this tour, and I'm like,
It seems silly to say, but there are multiple people, including someone standing on the stage directly behind me, who didn't bring a winter jacket. Grant, that jacket with the leopard on the back, you brought like a bomber jacket, like one of those. It's not enough. Multiple people. Here's the thing. Let me just explain something to you about this show. We're obviously celebrating our third album. Not obviously. I know there are literally people here who are like, "What is happening? I thought it was ballet tonight." That comes later, but we're celebrating our third record, If It Was You, that came out when Sara and I were just wee little things. We were 22 in the year 2002, and we were, thank you, just finding our way in the world, finding our way in the industry. You were there. That person was there. We were there. It was a whole thing.
that was probably it actually. You were there, we were there, and that was it.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. And but you know, back in those days, just the smallest things could end up like just taking a whole tour into a whole new direction, and not bringing the right jacket would just fuck you up for the whole tour, because like back then we were just scraping together the little bits and bobs we could to just afford even just to share a hotel room together. And these days, you know, I still try to keep some of those principles alive inside of myself, like not get all, you know, bougie and just be like, I didn't bring a jacket, I'll buy a new one. Like I literally, you know, I think about it a lot when I'm packing, and I almost didn't pack a winter jacket. I kept looking up the weather app and being like, it's not that cold. And then at the last minute, I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna bring it. And we got off the plane, Sara and I, we walked outside, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? So yeah, I'm gonna fucking brag about it. I brought a jacket. I'm an adult lady. Who brought a jacket like adult ladies do.
Here's a interesting, this is interesting. So we grew up in Alberta, and it's cold there, and we didn't wear winter jackets. And I mean, we wore like snowsuits and like normal winter clothes until we were teenagers, and then we thought we knew better. And then we just dressed. We used to wear hoodies and then these very thin plastic coats that we bought at vintage, like secondhand stores.
Like the jacket Grant brought on tour.
Probably the jacket Tegan was gonna bring that she got on some vintage site. But but I remember the feeling of what it was to be cold, like from the time that I was a little kid, like Sunday Scaries style. Like, you know, you would, you know, our mom would say like, okay, it's like the weekend, you know, you take a bath and then you have to get from the bath to your bed. And it was the 1980s, so we had waterbeds, and we used to turn up the heat on them. And we would crawl in our beds, and it was so warm, and there was this confusing conflict of like Sunday Scaries, even as a kid, Sunday Scaries, and then this like incredibly cozy feeling of just like, my bed is heated, you know? Like even as like a small child, I knew that was crazy and sick. And then like we became adults, and we got proper winter coats and moved to places like Los Angeles, and then now here we are, we're 43 years old, and we're talking about winter coats again, and we all go outside and we're constantly commenting on it. It's very Canadian or whatever. But one of the things that I'm like reminded of, and I pride myself on this, is like the ability to adjust and like acclimate. And you know, one of the things that I remember feeling like, I moved after high school. I moved from I briefly had a moment in Vancouver, but I moved to Montreal, and I was hardened.
Just to catch up, Sara's touched on the 80s, our childhood, teenagers. Now she's talking about when she moved to Montreal. She also popped back into real time and what I was up to. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, there's been all this time in 40 years where like the weather has like been this important thing, but I remember loving how prepared for winter I was once I lived in Montreal, and I understood the disgust that a lot of Canadians feel towards the West Coast, you know, with like, are they even Canadians, you know? Like, they just have like those weird raincoats. That's it, that's what's in their closets. They don't have anything that would protect them if the weather went below zero. And I am talking about Tegan, you know? And you know, so yeah, you're preparing for a tour of Ontario in March. Like, get a grip. You got to bring your puffy coat. That's just what happens. That's what this one's
You know what?
about.
I just had this epiphany. You know how online we're gonna play music again. Don't worry. I just had this epiphany. Like, I don't know if anyone watches like TikTok. Sometimes you just get into these weird. Your algorithm just gives. Anyway, for a minute there, I was getting a lot of videos about how you should sleep in cold. Like, open your windows, like kind of Scandinavian style. When Sarah just said the thing about how we've slept in heated beds, I was like, I need to call my naturopath because
That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. It's just,
sorry, it was
it's
disgusting.
like
I have
Gwyneth Paltrow up here. I'm like on tour with, it's
I'm so sorry.
it's Gwyneth and Sara.
I'm so sorry. I truly actually apologize if that seemed gross. I have horrible allergies. I got diagnosed with all these things. I carry an EpiPen now. I'm sorry that having a naturopath is disgusting, but I do need it to help me live. But
Let's just quickly rewind back when Tegan's like, I don't want to be bougie. Just a few moments ago, she's like, I don't want to be bougie and talk about my coat.
wait, which part of what I said was bougie? I think I lost the plot. What happened?
Did say bougie. Did she say bougie?
Yeah,
That's
but
why you all laughed.
yeah, but which part of what I said was bougie?
Who fucking knows? We don't know now. We've lost the plot. We don't know.
Oh, well, that's the thing. Okay, thank you so much for getting me
in a
directed.
heartbeat.
So
if someone has one, they want to sell me on Etsy.
you can
I
buy
would
it,
do
but here's where I was going is that it's like actually so bad that we slept in these like hot beds, like, and we didn't breathe properly. It was like cooking our organs for the first like 8 years of our lives. We were cooking ourselves. No wonder we're so small. So many of our problems seem so clear to me now. I'm gonna let my naturopath know. This next song is for her.